We go to the state of Idaho. Yes, the super progressive state of Idaho. I'm sure it'll be a cakewalk for Paulette Jordan up there, who is running for governor. Paulette, welcome to Rebel Headquarters.
Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you having me.
Now, in addition to being a very conservative state, I mean, Idaho is that. The way the primary system is set up there is a bit different. Can you give us an idea of how it works out?
Well, we have a Republican primary that is privatized, and you have to register Republican to vote in that primary. However, the Democratic primary is open to all independents, Republicans, Democrats, and unaffiliated. And that primary is coming up here May 15th.
And if you're unaffiliated, in other words, I can, regardless of my political affiliation, I could vote for you in this upcoming primary?
Absolutely.
That's kind of interesting and a real one. All these primaries in all these different places are so different, but this is one idiosyncrasy that seems oddly as though you could take advantage of it.
Well, we are actually reaching out to all the communities who are unaffiliated or who've been disenfranchised. And these folks who consider themselves independent or libertarian are voting for us. We're pushing us forward. So we are broadly appealing to everyone all across the political spectrum.
Sure, and as I say take advantage of it, meaning in the progressive wave and with your progressive message, it might resonate with those who otherwise in other states or in other primaries might not have a chance to vote for a candidate like yourself. You were an Idaho kid, right? You grew up there. You're a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, I see, and you represent, at least in some measure, maybe just in the constitution of who you are, a bit of that community and seeing what's happening in that community.
Well, when you're born and raised amongst the people, and for me, I was fortunate to have a great community of elders and two sets of very strong parents and lots of relatives. We are a very strong, well-knit community. So I benefit from that and all their stories and experiences, and that's what I bring forward, which is the voice of the people.
And you went to school, I believe you went to school outside the state, but then you came home to try to make a difference in that community. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's right.
Yes, my parents and my grandparents, all my relatives, they wanted me to have the best of the best and ensure that I was achieving everything that I could. And while they backed me up from my childhood, my birth, on to today, I've been impacted in all the best ways possible. But yes, my education has been primarily supported by my community.
But, we talk about your tie to the tribe, and we talked about how much that has helped you understand a relationship with a community and a community that needs representation. But you actually move well beyond the tribe, and you've represented a broader constituency than that.
Yes, it has always been my privilege to do so. My grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, when he was approached by myself and some others about me running for a higher office, he said, "You have to do this. It's a matter of you being the voice for everyone, because everyone needs that person with integrity who is not going to be corrupt." And he would always put it at, you need to be the one good apple amongst all the bad.
And so you ran and won in the Idaho House of Representatives, and that was no easy task. Again, that is a conservative Republican state.
Well, yeah, it's seemingly varied, but yet we have to realize that there are a vast majority of folks who have not been voting, who are not registering and have not voted in decades. These folks are the ones who are reignited now. They're seeing a whole new kind of leadership that is far more innovative, fresh, progressive, open to everyone, and it will push forward the voices of everyone beyond the political, the cronyism, the corruption that we see today, and the imbalanced nature that we face. They want to see balance come back in return. They want to see someone who will defend the public lands and defend education and healthcare for all. So I think that these voices now are rising up, and they will certainly change the face of our state.
Wow, that's a great thought. I really hope that you're right. Have you seen the progressive message? Because you've had it all along. You've had it as a legislator, and now as you lean into this race. Have you found that there is receptivity to that progressive message? If people are sparking to that?
Yes, primarily because I ran in a conservative district, and folks that I've met all along the way who are from the agricultural community or from the business community, these people are the same folks who have the same values that I have. And we're seeing people from the conservative end who are strong Republicans who have said they are firm supporters of our campaign and continue to stand strong with my message that I've held for the last 4 years or 2 terms in the State House. So we're continuing to see those folks in our support and in our corner. And now we're seeing more of those who are Republican women, young people who have seen that the message that we carry is the same message that they wish to see carried on in the State House. And then also we have seen folks who said that their party has left them behind and they see this new kind of leadership that they can truly believe in. So we're there for everybody, and I'm happy that we can continue to push this platform forward because it's really the way the entire country should be.
Yeah, and there's several, I suppose, rallying issues there in Idaho that everyone from every political affiliation should rally around. And I know one is important to you, and that's education, because Idaho has some real challenges in the education area. They got a D+ in education quality this year. I mean, this is a situation that no voter could possibly be okay with.
No, and it doesn't matter what party you align to or where you're from. Everyone knows that education is the greatest equalizer in America. So if Idaho is not serving the needs of every single citizen of its state, then it's a big problem, which is why we're seeing strong support from all sides of the aisle.
How do you attack that as governor, that problem?
You make it your number one priority. We're building up a pipeline of education. And by a mother of 2, I've certainly experienced what that means when you see your school struggling on a yearly basis. And how we treat our teachers is an unfortunate circumstance that we're in because we need to ensure that we're protecting them as well, being the base of our education system. And we're also pushing back the dollars, the support that we should be funding for our schools. That priority is a must. So starting with budgeting education at the front of the legislative session needs to happen first. And then we also need to ensure that much of our tax base is prioritized towards educational programs that will benefit all of our citizens and our economy.
You know, Idaho is one of those places I dream of going. I see the pictures, and the great West, as reflected in many of those pictures of Idaho, just inspire me to want to go there, and I hope to go there someday. But the attack on the lands in Idaho, the exploitation that takes on all the different forms in the way the lands are exploited, I would think that's a fight that you constantly have to wage. Give me a moment on where that stands and where you stand on that issue.
Well, it's a major concern for every Idahoan, whether you're a sportsman, businessman, woman, or student. We all care about where our public lands are and the detriment that we're facing. For me, I've been here for my relatives. I stem from a heritage that's been here for thousands of years. So we've always been good stewards of this land and fighting to protect it. And not only the ensuring that it stays in public hands and it's enjoyed by everyone, but that we're protecting the environment so that we continue to have clean air and clean water. Idaho is unfortunately one of the most polluted states in the nation. We are facing all sorts of levels of extraction and pollutants that are in our state that we have to combat. So public lands and the protection of it so that it stays in public hands is ultimately the key here. And we're going up against a party that wants to transfer those lands into state management. And unfortunately, we're seeing even this portions of land in Idaho that are being sold off to private corporate interests or wealthy families. So it's become a major concern, especially for those who are experiencing, as we speak, in certain counties within our state, whether it's for natural resource extraction through natural gas companies or like the corporation that we see there clear cutting swaths of Idaho's land, which is ultimately the most beautiful portions of our state. So Idahoans are seeing this as a challenge, and this is why it's also driving folks to the ballot box, which they do need to support a legislator or a governor who will bend for them and defend public lands, period, for every single town.
That's shocking. I must tell you that Idaho, this place, as I've just said, that reflects to me just the massive beauty that this country offers, that you could say that those lands are some of the most polluted in the country because, as you say, of the exploitation that's been allowed to run rampant. That's heartbreaking to me. I encourage everyone to support you for governor. I think it's an important battle both there in the state and for this great planet. And here is the website if you'd like to help Paulette Jordan become the next governor of Idaho. It's jordanforgovernor.com. The donation link you can see below, and all the information you need for volunteer sign up and the rest is there at jordanforgovernor.com. Paulette Jordan, the primary is May 15th. I know your opponent's got a lot of money.
Yes, but it doesn't take money to win elections. It takes people. So it means everyone has to turn out come May 15th. And I'm thankful that this powerful grassroots movement is proving to everyone across the country that we can do it regardless of corporate interest, special interest, or wealthy individuals. It's time for the people to start having a voice and fighting for themselves and to ensure that they are the ones leading our country.
Bravo, Paulette Jordan. Good luck in the governor's race.
I very much appreciate it.